My beloved brothers and sisters, there are certain things in our daily lives that seem so small, so ordinary, that we pay no attention to them. We say to ourselves, it's just a pair of shoes, why should it matter where I leave them? But in Islam, nothing is small when it comes to discipline, cleanliness and respect for the blessings that Allah has given us. The way you treat your shoes, the way you keep your entrance, the way you respect the masjid, these are not random habits. They are reflections of your inner discipline, and they are signs of whether you invite barakah into your life or whether you allow poverty, evil and the whispers of shaitan to step into your home. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lived a life of order and excellence, and he taught us that every action matters, even the simple act of placing your shoes. Today, I want to share with you 7 powerful lessons and 6 clear warnings from Allah that you must take seriously about this matter. 1. Respect the entrance of your home. My dear brothers and sisters, think for a moment about the entrance of your home. It is not just a spot where you open and close the door. It is the first place you and your family see when you arrive, and it is the first impression every guest has when they step in. Spiritually, it is far more important than we realize, because the entrance of the home acts like a gate between two worlds. The outside world full of distractions, jealousy, envy and shaitan's whispers, and the inside world which should be a sanctuary of peace, mercy and barakah. If this doorway is not respected, the line between those two worlds becomes blurred, and negativity easily slips inside. This is why our tradition emphasizes cleanliness and order, starting right at the threshold. When shoes are left scattered carelessly at the entrance, when dust, dirt, or even unpleasant odors gather at the door, it creates an environment that is not only unattractive but spiritually heavy. Angels of mercy who love order and purity avoid places where there is filth, neglect, or disorder. On the other hand, shaitan and harmful influences are drawn to such places because chaos is his home and disorder is his weapon. A messy entrance does not only affect the appearance of the house, it affects the atmosphere within the home itself. You might find family members constantly arguing, money slipping away without barakah, or a heaviness of heart and mind that you cannot explain. Many scholars have pointed out that such problems often start with neglect at the very door, because the entrance sets the tone for everything inside. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, taught us to live with ihsan, excellence, in every matter, big or small. He encouraged us to remove harm from pathways, to clean our spaces, and to maintain respect for our surroundings. If removing a simple stone or thorn from a road is considered an act of charity, then how much greater is the act of keeping your own doorway clean and respected? It is not simply about hygiene, it is about showing gratitude to Allah for the shelter He has given you, about preparing your home to be a place where angels feel welcome, and about making sure shaitan has no space to enter. Imagine walking into a home where the doorway is neat, shoes are aligned, the floor is clean, and there is a sense of order from the very first step. Such an entrance immediately creates peace in the heart, a feeling of relief and comfort. Now compare that to a doorway piled with shoes, dust gathering in corners, and clutter greeting you before the family does. One welcomes angels and blessings, the other drives them away. The choice is ours. So guard your doorway. Do not think of it as just the outside. It is the spiritual front line of your home. Teach your children to place their shoes properly, to clean the entrance regularly, and to respect that space as part of their worship. Every time you straighten the shoes, sweep the dust, or put things in order, remind yourself that you are not only tidying a space, you are protecting your home from harm, you are inviting angels of mercy, and you are honoring the sunnah of the Prophet, peace be upon him. When the entrance is respected, the home becomes a place where angels feel welcome, where family members feel calm, and where shaitan is left standing outside with no permission to enter. Do not block the path of others. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the most beautiful teachings of Islam is that we are not meant to live selfishly. Every action we do is supposed to take others into consideration. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, reminded us repeatedly not to harm others, whether intentionally or unintentionally. He said, asterisk, a Muslim is the one from whose tongue and hand other Muslims are safe. Asterisk, this hadith is a reminder that safety, comfort and ease for others should always be part of our behavior. Hada nasafety bikum adaran. Now imagine for a moment that someone is walking towards the masjid for salah, their heart eager to pray, and suddenly they stumble or struggle because your shoes are left in the middle of the entrance. This small act, which you may not even think twice about, becomes a source of discomfort and harm for another person. When we leave our shoes scattered in hallways, at the doorstep of the masjid, or even in narrow corridors of our homes, we are blocking the path of others without realizing it. It may force an elderly person to bend painfully just to move past, or it may cause a child running innocently to trip and hurt themselves. Sometimes it may even irritate a guest who visits and sees carelessness at the very first step. Angels of mercy avoid such places where people are inconsiderate and cause inconvenience. What we might call a small mess could actually be turning away blessings and adding unnecessary sins to our record. The Prophet, peace be upon him, taught us that even removing a thorn, a stone, or any harmful object from the path is considered an act of charity. If clearing a road for others earns us reward from Allah, then imagine the opposite when we create obstacles through our negligence. We not only lose out on reward, but we may also earn blame for causing hardship. Allah loves those who make life easier for others, who bring comfort instead of annoyance, who live with consideration and compassion. So every time you think of tossing your shoes aside in the middle of a walkway, remember, this is not just about shoes. It is about the type of Muslim you want to be. Someone who creates ease or someone who creates difficulty. Think also of the masjid, the most honored space where we stand shoulder to shoulder, equal before Allah. Outside the masjid, sadly, many times we see shoes scattered everywhere, blocking the path, creating a scene of chaos before entering a house of discipline. This is not befitting for the house of Allah. When a visitor sees shoes in order, lined up neatly, they feel peace even before stepping inside. It shows respect, it shows unity, and it shows that Muslims care not only about salah, but about the comfort of one another. Disorder, on the other hand, creates stress. People push, they trip, they even get upset, and sometimes their mind is distracted in prayer because of the mess they just faced. Do you see how something small can affect something big? So, my dear brothers and sisters, do not block the path of others. Place your shoes neatly, either in a rack if it is available, or in a proper corner where they are not in the way. Teach your children from a young age that putting shoes properly is not only good manners, it is part of their faith. Remind them that the angels love order, and Allah rewards every small action done with ihsan, excellence. Next time you are about to leave your shoes anywhere, ask yourself, will this make it easier for others or harder? And then choose the way that earns you the dua of others and the pleasure of Allah. 3. Poverty comes from neglect. My dear brothers and sisters, many of us think that poverty only means not having money. But in reality, poverty is more than just an empty wallet. Poverty can be the loss of barakah in your income, the disappearance of peace in your heart, the feeling that no matter how much you earn, it never seems to be enough. Poverty can appear as continuous struggles, constant repairs in your home, endless arguments in your family, or blessings slipping away without reason. And do you know what often opens the door to this hidden poverty? Neglect. When we neglect small acts of discipline and cleanliness, we unknowingly remove the barakah that Allah places in our lives. Something as small as how you place your shoes reflects your inner discipline. Shoes thrown carelessly at the entrance show carelessness in your attitude. If you cannot manage small matters, how will you manage bigger responsibilities? If you cannot bring order to your shoes, how will you bring order to your finances, your work, your prayers, and your family life? Islam teaches us that the way you do one thing is the way you do everything. Disorder in one corner of your life spreads into other corners, just like dust left in one spot eventually spreads across the whole room. A person who lives without order, who is lazy with small things, will naturally invite laziness into greater matters, and laziness is the brother of poverty. The Quran reminds us, asterisk, indeed Allah does not change the condition of a people until they change what is within themselves. Asterisk, Surah Ar-Ra'd 13:11. This means if you want your rizq to grow, if you want your home to be filled with blessings, you must begin with change in your habits and in your discipline. Neglecting the entrance of your home, throwing your shoes here and there, allowing dirt and clutter to build up. These are not meaningless acts. They are reflections of what is inside. And what is inside reflects on the outside, drawing poverty instead of prosperity. Think about a person who wakes up every morning, lines up his shoes neatly, keeps his space clean, and maintains order in his home. That habit may seem small, but it trains his mind to live with responsibility, to value blessings, to act with gratitude, and Allah increases the blessings of the one who shows gratitude. On the other hand, a person who lives carelessly, who throws his shoes and leaves disorder at the entrance, trains his mind to be careless in other matters too. Slowly, this carelessness seeps into his work, his relationships, and his faith until barakah is lost and poverty takes its place. My brothers and sisters, the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, told us that Allah loves ihsan, excellence in everything. Excellence is not only in your salah, not only in your charity, but even in how you keep your belongings. Shoes may seem unimportant, but they protect your feet every single day. They carry you to work, to school, to the masjid. They are a blessing from Allah. When you respect your shoes by placing them properly, you are showing respect for Allah's blessing. And when you respect Allah's blessing, He increases you in barakah. But when you neglect it, when you throw it aside without thought, you are showing ungratefulness, and ungratefulness leads to loss. Poverty does not always knock loudly at your door. Sometimes it slips in quietly through neglect. It starts with disorder at the entrance, laziness in small acts, and carelessness with blessings. But the one who wakes up and says, I will treat even the smallest blessing with respect, is the one who protects his home from poverty and fills his life with barakah. So remember, my beloved brothers and sisters, poverty is not just about money, it is about neglect. And barakah is not just about wealth, it is about gratitude, discipline, and order. 4. Don't invite shaitan into your home. My beloved brothers and sisters, Allah reminds us in the Quran with very clear words. Asterisk, indeed shaitan is an enemy to you, so take him as an enemy. Asterisk, Surah Fatir 35-6. Shaitan is not your friend, not your companion, not someone you can ignore. He is a sworn enemy who waits for every small opportunity to enter your life and destroy your peace. He does not always enter through big sins or obvious doors. Sometimes he slips through the smallest cracks, the little habits that we think do not matter. One of those small cracks is disorder and negligence inside the home. When your entrance is messy, when shoes are thrown around without care, when clutter builds up at the very doorway, it may seem like only a matter of untidiness to you, but for shaitan it is an invitation. He loves chaos, he thrives in disorder, and he takes advantage of negligence. A clean, organized, and disciplined home attracts angels of mercy, while a messy, chaotic home is where shaitan feels comfortable. Have you not noticed how arguments, irritation, and bad moods often arise in homes where there is disorder? Even something as simple as shoes scattered at the entrance can lead to unnecessary conflict. A father may scold his child, a mother may become upset, siblings may argue, and all of this because of something that could have been avoided with a little order. This is how shaitan works. He takes the smallest negligence and turns it into a cause for anger and division. Think about it, my brothers and sisters. Shaitan is patient. He does not always need to make you commit a major sin immediately, but sometimes all he needs is for you to leave your shoes scattered, so that when someone else trips over them, anger sparks, harsh words are exchanged, and hearts are hurt. Slowly, shaitan plants resentment and bitterness in the family. He wants your home to be filled with frustration instead of peace, with shouting instead of dhikr, with chaos instead of order. And one of his easiest tools is disorder. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, taught us to always live with cleanliness and discipline, not because it looks nice to people, but because it keeps shaitan away. He reminded us to cover our food, to close our containers, to tidy our beds, to keep our homes clean, all to protect ourselves from shaitan's influence. So do you see how important these small habits are? They are not just lifestyle choices. They are shields against an enemy who never sleeps. A home where order is maintained becomes a fortress. Angels come in, mercy descends, and the family feels calm. But a home where shoes are scattered, dirt is ignored, and disorder rules becomes a playground for shaitan. He whispers, he provokes, and he breaks apart the very unity of the household. That is why, my dear brothers and sisters, never think of your shoes as just shoes. They represent whether you are closing the door to shaitan or opening it for him. So the next time you walk into your house or the masjid, do not throw your shoes here and there. Place them properly. Teach your children that order is not just about manners, it is about protecting the house from shaitan. Remind them that when the entrance is clean and the shoes are in their place, the home becomes a place of barakah, and the enemy of mankind has no space to enter. A simple act of order at the doorway can become the reason your home is filled with angels instead of devils. 5. Respect the house of Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, there is no place on earth more honored and more blessed than the masjid. It is not simply a building of bricks and walls. It is the house of Allah, a sacred place where His name is remembered, where Quran is recited, and where hearts bow together in humility before their Creator. Every masjid, whether big or small, is connected to the heavens. For the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, told us that the masjid is the most beloved place to Allah on earth. If this is the most beloved place to Allah, then surely our attitude towards it should be one of utmost respect and discipline. Yet sadly, we often see how people treat the entrance of the masjid with carelessness. Shoes are thrown everywhere, blocking pathways, piled on top of each other, and sometimes even carrying najasa, impurity, from the streets into the sacred ground. Imagine, my brothers and sisters, angels descending upon the masjid to witness worshippers, and the first thing they see at the door is chaos and neglect. Is this how we welcome the angels of mercy? Is this how we honor the house of Allah? We must realize that respect for the masjid begins not when we start our salah inside, but the moment we approach its entrance. The way we leave our shoes reflects the way we value the sanctity of that house. Think about this. When you are invited to the home of an important person, maybe a leader, a respected elder, or a wealthy host, you would be careful with your manners. You would place your shoes neatly. You would avoid making a mess. And you would try to give the best impression. If we can do this for people, why do we fail to do it for Allah, the Lord of the worlds, when entering His house? How can we show discipline for human beings, but show neglect for the Creator of all human beings? This is not befitting for a believer. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, was extremely careful with the masjid. He taught the companions to keep it clean, to avoid causing discomfort at its entrance, and to always maintain its dignity. He himself would help in the cleaning of the masjid, setting an example that even the leader of the ummah should honor the house of Allah with his own hands. If he, peace and blessings be upon him, placed such importance on cleanliness and order, then how can we as his followers treat it casually? Furthermore, leaving shoes scattered outside the masjid is not only disrespectful but harmful. People trip, elders stumble, and children cry after falling. Sometimes people even get their shoes stolen because of the mess and confusion. All of these are consequences of negligence. When shoes are placed neatly, none of this happens. Instead, there is peace, order, and ease for every worshipper entering or leaving the masjid. Remember, angels love order, and where there is order, there is mercy. Brothers and sisters, the masjid is the symbol of our unity. Inside we stand shoulder to shoulder, equal before Allah, rich and poor, young and old. Outside, our shoes should also reflect that same unity and discipline. Imagine a row of shoes placed properly. It reflects harmony before you even step inside. Compare that to a pile of shoes thrown everywhere. It reflects carelessness and disrespect. Which image do you think earns the pleasure of Allah? Which image do you think invites angels, and which one drives them away? So let us make it a habit to respect the house of Allah from the moment we approach it. Place your shoes neatly, teach your children to do the same, and remind others gently if you see neglect. Do not think it is a small matter, because respect in small matters opens doors to great reward. Every time you place your shoes in order outside the masjid, tell yourself, I am honoring Allah's house. I am preparing my heart to enter His presence with humility. And believe me, that simple act will not go unnoticed by Allah. 6. Protect others from hidden danger. My beloved brothers and sisters, one of the greatest responsibilities that Allah has placed upon us as Muslims is to live in such a way that we do not harm others. Islam is a religion of mercy, of safety, of consideration. The Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him, said in a very famous hadith, asterisk, there should be neither harming nor reciprocating harm, asterisk, itinu maja. This one principle, if we live by it, can change the way we behave in every aspect of life. It means that even in the smallest actions, we must think, will this cause harm to someone else? Will this inconvenience them, hurt them, or put them in danger? If the answer is yes, then as believers, we should stop ourselves from doing it. Now, let us look at something as simple as shoes. Shoes may seem like such an ordinary item, something we use every day and forget about, but the way we place them can either bring safety or invite danger. Imagine a pair of shoes left in the middle of the doorway. Mankum matanikum mankum 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 mankum. A child runs happily, not paying attention, and trips over them. The child falls, cries in pain, and maybe even gets injured. Who is responsible for that pain? Imagine an elderly person with weak eyesight, slowly walking with careful steps. If they stumble on a shoe left carelessly, the consequences can be severe. A broken bone, a deep cut, or weeks of suffering, all because someone was too lazy to place their shoes properly. This is not a small matter. In the sight of Allah, the person who caused harm, even indirectly, bears responsibility. The Prophet, peace be upon him, told us that removing harm from the path is an act of charity. He said in a hadith reported in Sahih Muslim, asterisk, removing harmful things from the road is a charity, asterisk, if simply picking up a thorn, a stone, or a stick from the path is considered an act of worship that earns reward, then surely leaving behind harm is the opposite. It is a sin, a negligence that takes away reward and may bring punishment. Shoes left where they can hurt people are no different from leaving a stone on the path. In fact, they are worse, because it is not only strangers but our own family, our own brothers and sisters in faith who may be harmed by our neglect. Let us reflect deeply on this. How many times have we seen someone trip at the masjid entrance because shoes were lying in every direction? How many times have mothers carried their babies and almost stumbled because the path was blocked with footwear?